welcome to yet another episode. If you're passing here for the first time, my name is Mary, and if you are a returning subscriber, as always, welcome back. Home is best. Thank you for the feedback that I've been getting from you through messages in my phone, emails. I had a single mother who asked me a question that I would want to react to. So our discussion today, or our conversation today, will be about moving on. So moving on, and her question was very categorical to single mothers that were left by their partners. So remember, we've defined singlehood or single parenting in so many ways, but today we are specifically narrowing down to those single mothers that were left by their partners, whether they were partners, whether they were boyfriends, or whatever the relationship that they were in. So what should they do before they move on? And the reason why she asks this is because when you look at the other definition of single parenting, those ones that have separated through divorce, or maybe you are a single parent because of death, it's very different from a single parent who was left by their spouse or whoever, whatever the relationship that was. And that is why she was so much concerned in how can they move on, and especially after a heartache. So remember here, number one, we start with heartache. So remember, this person left you, maybe left you when you needed them the most, at the lowest point of their lives. I had a conversation with single mothers that are in my circle, and there's one who shared, and she gave me permission to share with my audience. There's one who shared that her baby daddy, as they are referred to, left her when she was jobless, and she was around 2 months pregnant. So you can imagine, you're jobless. Are you getting it? You're jobless. Apart from being jobless, you are pregnant. And she says, or said, this is a pregnancy that they had planned for, agreed. But the moment she became pregnant and she lost her employment, one day the guy woke up and just left and never came back. So she was left alone to take care of the children. Previously, they had 2 children, so this was the third one. So when this third one was on the way, the guy totally ghosted. You can imagine, ghosted on her. She did not have money to pay rent. She couldn't get money for her food and for, just to provide food for the family. And this particular single mother says that she was very, very desperate and frustrated at that particular time. And therefore, you can wonder, like such a lady, how can she move on? Can she move on? Do you think she can have a healthy relationship with another person? And you may find out that moving on is very, very hard for such a parent. So I've taken my time to talk about that particular heartache. So what would you tell such a lady? So moving on, and especially after a heartache, is important. But it should not be instant. It should not be instant. Remember, you are already heartbroken. You had hopes in this person, and you were fooled. So it can't be automatic. And if you are a single mother and in this situation, what I would tell you is, number one, yeah, moving on is good. It is healthy. And everyone needs a shoulder to lean on. But the question is, are you ready? Are you ready? That is the biggest question that you should ask yourself. So ready in which terms? Ready in terms of, have you shed your past? Are you done with your ex? Are you well psychologically? Because most of the time it is all about mental wellness. So most of the time people assume the mental health of such a person. Sometimes most people, like I have mentioned, the lady, you'll find that they have a lot of mental issues. And therefore, before moving into another relationship, ensure that you've healed completely before you allow yourself to date. There's a danger with moving on very fast, because it will be like a rebound. We call that in basketball a rebound. you've not healed. You're just running away to the next person so that probably you can have just, a temporal shoulder to lean on. You are running to another person not with good intentions, but you are running to this person because you are desperate, because you are frustrated and all that. Once you do that, then you are going to find that you've just landed from the frying pan into the fire. You will not have helped yourself. And that is why I'm saying, ensure that you have totally healed. You see life in a different way. You don't have grudges with your ex. You don't have any issue. Your mental health is good. So if your mental health is good, then why not? Give it a try. Try and date. Try to get to know somebody. Try to understand a person before you move on. And as I have always insisted, as you move on, as you try to move on, remember you have children in the picture. And because you have children in the picture, then you should be very, very careful. It is not all about you. You have your package. So as you move on with trying to date someone, then ensure that your children are still your priority. So that was one question. The second question, there's a lady who asked me if you are moving on, and especially if you have children. And this is a very categorical discussion for single mothers. And if you have children, is it wise for you to tell a person you have children? So my audience, what do you think? Is it right for you to open up? Or should you just, lie? What do you think? And especially men. If you were to date a single mother, would you want her to tell you her truth? Or should she tell you half her truth? What do you think? My advice is this. I've always advocated for children to be your number one. At the top, to be number one. So what should you do? As you move on and try to date someone and to understand them, just be open. This is your baggage. Be very proud. You're a single mother to 2 children, 3, 4, whatever the number, mention. If this person who is trying to come into your life, they are serious with you, they'll not shy off. They're not going to run off. But if they're just the normal boys, those playboys and all that, they'll take off very quickly. They'll never ask you for another date. And the reason is because you told them the truth. Tell someone from the start the truth. There's this lady, Rhoda Kidula Kedaha. I love the way she talks about single parenting in her interviews about, the interview is named The Wave. In one of her videos that I watched, before she got married, she had one child, a daughter. And in one of the videos, she says that every time she would introduce herself, she would say her name and I'm also Mama Fulani. Are you getting what I'm saying? So like you're introducing yourself to a stranger who doesn't know you or is trying to know you. Start by mentioning your name and then mention your children. Or you can even start by introducing yourself, Mama A and B and C. Then sit back. Look at the reaction. That is the most interesting part of it. Look at the reaction. There are those men, and especially those ones that are not serious. Once you start bringing in this Mama Nani, hey, they'll just shy off. Or even you'll just see the way that they react. And even sometimes you're out in a date, they'll want to rush the date. And therefore you'll know this is a person who is going to take off. And the reason is because they're not interested in establishing a relationship with you. But if a person is interested, whether you say you're Mama A to Z and they're interested in you, they'll stick around. And you'll create a relationship out of it. So I hope I've answered your question. Please, men, I want to hear from you. Would you rather be told the full truth or do you want half-half? I've had cases of men, this one is interesting, cases of men that got into relationships with women and even sometimes married them, only to realize later on that this woman had children back at home. And sometimes even they have 3 children, 4 children. and they never told you. So what happens in such a situation? So dear men, I would want to hear from you. What do you think? And then finally, I had another question, and this one was from a male audience of mine. He wrote a message to me and asked me, single mothers, would you be open to a blended family? That was his question. And how would they ensure that the blended family works? I think for this man, this is a man, I don't know him. This is just from my random audience. I think for him, he has children and is not into a marriage kind of setup or setting. So this is a man who is interested maybe in getting a spouse, but now he's wondering, do we have single mothers out there that are ready and willing to take care of children that they never gave birth to? And therefore, my dear single ladies in my audience, do you think a blended family is an option? Is this something that you would want to get into? And remember, I don't even use the word try. Do you think this is something that you would want to get into? Please give me your feedback. And to the man who asked the question, yes, we have a lot of single mothers that are willing to get into a blended family, provided everything is put at the table. Because we also have men that are liars, men that are not honest, they are not straightforward, that have cheated women into marriages, and then later on you realize that you are dealing with a Father Christmas. Father Christmas means a very generous man who has impregnated so many women and he has children all over. For you to realize that, sometimes they can tell you they have just one child, but the truth is that they have more than one. So it is up to you and for everyone to ensure that everything is brought on the table, to ensure that the truth is said. And as I have always said, we want the whole truth, not half-half. We want the full truth. So if you are ready to get in a blended family, please drop your comment in the comment section box. What do you think? Is it something that is possible? Do you think blended families work? Is this something that you can try? So please, if you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing, like this video, share, so that the video can be pushed to so many single parents who can find this discussion very helpful to them. Thank you and goodbye for now.